You're watching our State of Disneyland Report, where we ask the question, what is the state of Disneyland? What does that gumbo taste like? Is it busy? Is it not busy? What's new around the park? Keep watching to find out, and we'll start.
I've checked down Main Street. And what a vibe it is. By the way, I will say, before we even begin this Main Street walk, the Town Square is vibing as well. A very happening scene here at Town Square and also now on Main Street. I've been excited to see just the energy of the crowds here. I was getting a little B-roll, as I often do when I first start these shows, and I don't want to go so far as to say packed, but I mean, it's busy and there's just movement and people here, and it's great. We're here on this morning at about 11:40, I want to say, on a Monday morning here, and the vibe is positive. It seems very evident as we begin this day that people are happy to be here on Main Street, which, by the way, I mean, why wouldn't you be, right? If there's any place you could be right now, just name a few places. I'm sure Disneyland's going to be high on your list. Thank you guys for joining us today. I'm your host, David, and we're doing our State of Disneyland Report, where we go throughout the entire park and just update you. Hi, guys. How's it going? Say hi to people who watch the show and update you on what's happening at the park. We're going to, check out the crowds and some of the lines and do a little ride recon, try a little food. I'm trying to decide what I want to eat. I've got my eyes on something over there at Tiana Palace later this afternoon. It's been a while since we've dined there. And we're progressing through the afternoon, and by the end of the day, we're going to get a sense of what is the state of Disneyland. Just look at this current happening right here. This is something I like to observe before we get started right here at Town Square. There are times when, even on a busy day, this little section right here is kind of quiet. They're out of the way, but there's a lot of bodies filling in the gaps here on these streets. And that's the kind of thing that we're looking for when it comes to trying to determine what the crowd densities are like. You can look at the queues and you can look at the wait times and see how busy things are there, but oftentimes that is a separate story when it comes to the conversation about how busy things are in the parks. And that's because Disneyland is really unlike any other park when it comes to, when it's busy at Knott's or Universal, it's busy in the queues, but it can be empty in the streets. Everybody's doing a thing. They're not, they're always trying to do a thing, right? Whereas at Disneyland, you could be trying to do a thing. You could be trying to do an attraction or a ride, but you could also just be like me, just walking around. You're not really doing anything. You just want to be here and be part of the process, be part of the experience that is Disneyland. And that's the case for a lot of locals, especially. Hi, guys. So that's where it's kind of separate. You can look at the queues and you can look at the wait times, but also you got to look and see the crowds and everything, and just see how, where's that energy and everything, and what's happening just in the streets. I often say that. Not busy in the queues, but busy in the streets. And these streets are busy. Let's go to Adventureland. And actually, Adventureland is about ready to go through another update period. Tiki room right here on our left. Word is that's going to be closed for a little bit coming up to do some maintenance on the show inside. Fix all get everything a tune-up, as it were. And also the exterior show out there as well with the falling plants. And as it turns out, Jungle Cruise, that's getting an update, I believe. And Indiana Jones, which, by the way, also today, I believe, is the 30th anniversary of Indiana Jones Adventure. I don't know if we're going to encounter anything in our short time in Adventureland, but that is happening today. In fact, something did happen. Later this day, just as I was wrapping this report, I was told to go to Indy now by Justin Scarrett, care of my wife. There he is right there. Because John Rhys Davies was in the park and he was going to do a meet with all the California Joneses. So I joined them all as they made their way through the Indy attraction. Fascinating to watch everything unfold and then finally ride on Indiana Jones Adventure. I rode shotgun, kind of, with Sallah himself. Once in a lifetime experience. I've created a video. You guys can watch that separately of kind of the whole 10-minute video of that experience. Pretty amazing, but it did happen. Now, as for this video, let's get back to Adventureland. And it looks like we've got a scene to match what we found on Main Street here on the streets of Adventureland. Things look pretty intense, man. Feels good, looks good. Jungle Cruise is our first stop as far as ride recon goes. And there is a posted 25-minute wait time there as we arrive here at 11:56 in the afternoon, I guess. Top deck is full. That's usually how we find it. On the left, looks like it's completely full, and then on the right, looks like it's completely empty. They're not using the back side of that queue, so that's a good sign as far as crowd densities go in the queues on the rides. 25 minutes on a day like we've seen so far here at Disneyland for the Jungle Cruise is pretty good. Meanwhile, next door, Indiana Jones. Look at that, posted 45. That's actually quite positive. I'm liking to see that. Hey, how are you? I like to see a 45-minute wait time at Indiana Jones, and I like to see it open for that matter. If you have watched this show before, if you've seen this recently on social media, on Instagram and stuff like that, we've been talking about. Where we going? We got to talk about. It takes more than just looking at the posted wait time, though, in the back of the queue to find out what the status is at Indiana Jones Adventure. So we're going to the back of the queue where you need to go to really know what is the state of Indiana Jones Adventure. And at a posted 45-minute wait time, I would expect to see the back of this queue mostly full. And we are not. We're not at all full. This is fantastic. This is the kind of queue you want to see when you come to Indiana Jones Adventure. And I just realized I forgot to turn on my microphone. That's better. Sorry about that, Fresh Bake. Let's get back to the show. So if you see a posted 45-minute wait time, but you come back here and see this queue, you are definitely getting in this queue. It's going to take these guests that are pulling in here about, I don't know, four minutes maybe to get onto the ramp, and that's really the goal, is to get to the ramp as soon as possible to beat the Lightning Lane queue up there. Once you get in here, once you've mixed with Lightning Lane, there is no more competition. It's going to be the same every single time. It's always going to be the same in there. It's going to take you about 20 minutes to get through that queue. So add 20 minutes to whatever it is you're seeing out here, which I'm seeing about 5, so I'm looking at a 25-minute queue. This situation that you're seeing right here, when it comes to making go, no-go decisions at Disneyland, that is the very definition of a go situation when it comes to comparing what you see with what's on the wait time, what's on the app, or what's on the posted wait time out front. That's the very definition of using your own analysis, using a little ride recon, getting in there and taking a look at things and making your own decision, not just relying on what you see on the tip board. And the thing of it is that they know they know that's not a 45-minute queue, but it's not likely for them to reduce the wait time down to something like 25 or 35. Well, they did. Look at that. They did. I kid you not. They see me coming. They're like, oh my gosh, we got to change that wait time. It's very rare for them to flash a 30-minute wait time here at Indiana Jones Adventure, because time is going to change. It won't take long before people see that on the tip board. They see the 30 minutes, they walk by, they see the 30 minutes on the board, and they're like, oh my God, it's time to go. It's, as we say, a call to action. It's a call to action for guests to get in that queue and take advantage of that, because you never see 30 minutes posted. I could stand here for a few minutes and we'll watch that queue fill up, no problem. Matter of fact, let's go. The queue is filling up. We can't see it yet because the cast member has roped off access to the back of the queue back here. So we should be seeing somebody come into frame here in a second and adjust one of these ropes, do a little rope maintenance to allow guests to get back here. And I bet if we went out front, we'd find a queue longer than they would like out there in the front, in the threshold. And sure enough, when I come back, there we go. She's opened up the queue. Everything is going to start filling up. We've been doing this for what, 3 or 4 minutes now? Let's see. Yeah, going on 4 minutes. And that 30-minute wait time sure has been a call to action. Let's just see how much longer it takes to get the rest of this queue filled in here. But I suspect they could probably fill all of this exterior stuff if they've opened it up completely. But
But just remember, it wasn't, maybe it was 10 minutes ago when we were back here analyzing this queue when they saw it posted 45 and we're like, no way, that's more like 20. This is how you got to look at the queue. The opposite is true as well, or can be. We can go out there and see a posted wait time of 30 minutes, but find this queue now into this situation. Now this is a no-go compared to a 30-minute posted wait time, right? Now you're saying this does not look inviting as the other one does. Now you're gonna wait all of that. Well, it's probably 40 minutes now is my guess. It's hard to say for sure because they haven't filled in all the gaps inside. They're still filling it in. So we haven't really identified where the back of the queue is yet. It's fluid, but I think I've seen enough to know that they're gonna fill, because there's still guests coming in on the very end there. You can see around that corner. They're probably gonna get to about here is my guess. And all that happens in a matter of, well, in this case, about 10 minutes total. From the time that we left the queue to the time we went back there to go check things out again, that was about 10 minutes. And it could be a little bit longer or a little bit shorter than that. That's why it's important to react and try to identify the go, no go status and be decisive about it. Now that I've been in Adventureland for a little while, I've been smelling that Bengal barbecue for the past 15 minutes. And it's making me want to get in there and get myself, oh no, a Banyan beef skewer or something like that. But no, I think I want to go to Tiana's Palace today. But there you see, it's still 30 minutes. It's pulling people in. That queue is actually, hi guys, but that queue is actually closer to 40 now. And by the way, looks like they've also started to fill up the rear or the second section on the Jungle Cruise, the right deck. Things are picking up here in Adventureland on our way out of here. Let's go check out New Orleans Square next. We'll look at Pirates of the Caribbean, which I'm seeing another inviting queue. I love it when I don't see any guests up there on the rail. That's always a good sign. I like seeing guests not on the rail because that means they're also not down the way towards Tiana's Palace or Haunted Mansion. So you're looking, if you don't see guests on the bridge there, you're looking at a 20-minute wait, most likely, before you even get around the corner. And it's posted at 25. Going to identify the back of the queue, but this looks light. This is very inviting right here, very inviting. This switchback right here is barely being used. Looks like they are going around the corner a little bit at that U-turn. These are very good visual indicators of a go situation for Pirates of the Caribbean, in spite of whatever you see up there on the board or on the tip board. As for the state of Pirates, the one thing that we can discuss is that they're still using Lightning Lane here. No indication that they are going to remove that. Everything that should have happened or that needed to happen in order for them to remove Lightning Lane here at Pirates has happened. And it's been a few weeks at least since that has been the case. Hi guys. All right. Hey, you know what we have to do is head down to Royal Street. We never get down to Royal Street whenever we start doing these State of Disneyland reports. Let's go see what's going on the back side of things. And we don't have to go very far. Royal Street Veranda, they're doing some amazing things over there. The food there is getting so good. They're doing sort of quick service Monte Cristos, and those cheesy biscuits, outstanding. Those are so good. The food here at Disneyland is always an adventure. You can have your favorites, and I do, but there's always something new to try, which is just delightful. Pretty narrow back here, kind of intense. Been a while since I've enjoyed anything at Blue Bayou. I'm gonna have to find an excuse to come there. How are you guys? I'm gonna have to find an excuse. Just like I was, still haven't. Well, we actually made a reservation for Lamplight. I asked everybody to remind my wife to remind me that we need to eat at Lamplight soon. That's coming up. Disneyland is as much, the experience is as much about trying new foods, and Disney keeps bringing out new foods for you to try. I feel like that's as much a part of the experience as it is just getting on rides. As a matter of fact, for me, in a lot of ways, it's more of it. And we've actually angled our way all the way back here. You know what? I placed a mobile order earlier today for Tiana's Palace. Let's go get that, and we'll see if we can't find a table and enjoy some lunch. What I'm going for today here at Tiana's Palace is the House Gumbo. I've only had this, or I should say the only time I've had it was during opening day when this, it's been a year and a half now that Tiana's Palace has been open. And you're supposed to come back after, when they first open a thing. It's always great. They're always, everybody's at peak performance opening day, and they're really excited and trying to do their best, but you're supposed to come back after a little while and see how things go, if it's still good. I have not had the House Gumbo since then, so it's about time. But the problem is I kind of forgot how much I liked it, or if I did, I think I did. I think I did try it. I will note, by the way, that the menu has changed quite a bit. They're serving a po' boy now, and they've taken out we've lost the shrimp and grits. That was the thing that I was most excited about. Number one, and everything else was like 3 or 4, was the opportunity to have shrimp and grits in the park at a quick service restaurant. Alas, it is no longer here, and I think it's because they couldn't maintain the standard of quality that shrimp and grits does require. I think, because I recall I got them a second time and they weren't quite as good as the first. Anyway, we're getting the house gumbo, braised chicken, and Dewey sausage, and heirloom rice. There is one of those andouille sausages, which are legend here since the French market days. That's still good. Actually, a little spicy, but tastes like I remember them. Actually, even a little bit better, maybe, because the ends are a little bit crusty. I like it when they're burnt, the burnt ends. There's some of that braised chicken. Standard, nothing really to get too excited about, although it's also not bad either. They haven't done anything wrong. It's just chicken. That's what chicken is. Heirloom rice. There you go. I was expecting that to be pretty dry, but it isn't. It's very moist and flavorful. That's pretty good. What I like to do, though, and I'm sure I'm not alone, I feel like the rice and chicken and everything is always better with that sauce. It's really all about the sauce when you get something like this, like gumbo. That's the whole thing. So mix that rice up. Mix that rice up with the gumbo sauce. Yeah. Yeah. That is tremendous. This is a win so far. One of those sausages. This is probably better than I remembered it. I got, by the way, also, you can order cornbread to go on the side with it. It's been a minute since I've had this as well. I thought this might be dry, again, but it's not. It's just a piece of cornbread. Cornbread is fundamental when getting a spicy dish like gumbo, because you need it to cut that heat in your face. So you gotta kind of work on this a little bit, have some tea before you can get back in there again. All in all, I would say that the house gumbo here at Tiana's Palace is a hit. I'm gonna give it a B all in. I mean, at $17.90 or $17.49, it's a little pricey for gumbo, especially if you add in the cornbread, which I feel like is a must, which is $4. Now we're at $21 plus the drink. This whole thing cost me $25 after my discount. So it's a little pricey as a meal goes, but the flavors are there, so it's pretty good. I would say I would give it a higher score if it wasn't so expensive. And on that note, we gotta get back to work. Let's get back to New Orleans Square. You guys hear that? Look at, whew. That's music to my ears. They're putting water in the train, running it on the track. It looks like she's about ready to take off, maybe? We saw the train, hi guys, we saw the train pulling into the station at Main Street earlier today before we started the show. They are gonna take off, how exciting. I missed the whistle, she blew the whistle. Perhaps the experience that most I identify with as Disneyland, as being at Disneyland, is that train right there. And when it goes offline, it takes me down. Listen.
To ensure a safe ride, stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. And
Wow.
watch your kids.
And the Lily Bell to boot. Outstanding. Disneyland Railroad is scheduled to be back online for guests this Friday, the 7th. Same thing for the monorail, another attraction that I closely identify with respect to, what it means for me to be at Disneyland and how I consume Disneyland. Any transportation ride, basically, in the park, the Main Street vehicles, a train, a monorail, a bus. It's all good for me. I love it. And those attractions coming back in March, on Friday, when you look at the totality of things, Disneyland is really in a really good spot right now. And we've kind of alluded to this in previous conversations. As we watch the Mark Twain go by, you can see Tiana's back there a little bit. Disneyland is ready. We're in one of the sweetest, sweet spot periods in the park where all the attractions are up and running, most all of them. Everything is being fixed and repaired. You've got experiences or broken parts of attractions that are coming back online. I'm trying to think now, so coming up is Indiana Jones, Tiki Room, and Jungle Cruise, but those are brief refurbs, and that's just gonna be, we're gonna fix some stuff and bring it back online. But it was just the train and the monorail really at this point, and I can't think of anything else. I know I'm missing something, I must be, but we're gonna be operationally ready to go by the 7th. We're gonna be operationally and ready to go next week. And that's going to include Haunted Mansion, which just come off a major refurb of its queue. We got a new bride inside. Everybody's excited about both. Well, most everybody, because some people aren't crazy about the new bride. Some people aren't crazy about the new queue. And we're looking at a 50-minute wait time right now for Haunted Mansion, which it looks super, super intense right here at the opening. This does not look great right here, but this does. This looks okay. Not a lot of guests out here in this part of the queue. They're not even serving it. They're not even sending guests back there. They're sending them straight into one of the little garden area back there. Curious, and why is it 50 minutes? Well, because Lightning Lane is crushing it right now. See all those folks going into Lightning Lane? When you see a backup like that, at the scanners, oh boy, it's gonna be a rough go for standby. So they're gonna be doing a lot of parking. The queue is not long. It's not long, but it's sticky. For those new to the show, sticky is a term that I use to describe queues that don't move very quickly. There's sticky, and then there's it goes quick though, right? So a sticky queue is one where you're doing this, and you're kind of like looking for a thing to lean on when you're in the queue, and sometimes you're even going so far as to sitting on the ground or finding places to sit. You just look posted. Whereas an it goes quick though is one like Pirates, where the queue is, it looks like it's a huge line. The queue is going all over the place around New Orleans Square, but you're constantly moving. It goes quick though. It looks long, but it goes quick though. That queue looks sticky. There's some fans of the show right here. You can see when they're just not moving, like this part of the queue is moving, that's good. But this is usually the case. You get a queue sticky like that when you're getting a lot of action in Lightning Lane. You guys see that down there? They took the walls down at Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond gift shop. It was open for a couple months, and then they had to put it behind. They didn't close it, but they had to put walls up because they found some issues with drainage. And this is the net result: is that you can see how they redid this section here. It looks a little different. This one's a little bit more worn. It's been tread on. This one's new. And then also, they installed these grates right here on the ground for drainage. The water was not running off correctly. And that's the kind of thing that I love to pay attention to on this show. On this show. And we do a Monday construction report. Every Monday, we put out actually we didn't do it this week because we had food and wine out, but every Monday normally we do a construction update where we cover stories like that. What are the things they're working on? What are the things that they're building or operationally that are changing, that kind of thing. Hope you guys can watch that show with us. That is every Monday here on Fresh Baked.
Which brings us to Bayou Country. I almost called it Critter Country. Wow, okay. Feeling some intensity here as well. Let's see how Tianas is doing. The attraction is starting to come down from its super high intensity wait times. It was having some struggles with operations, and it was very, very popular, but look at that. Just a 35-minute wait time here right now at 1:11 in the afternoon. That's pretty good right there. That might be the first time I've seen a posted wait time of something like 30, 35 minutes this late in the day. You get that at 10, 11 in the morning back in the day. And you can walk onto this attraction now for the first, I would say at least 2 hours, maybe 3 hours in the morning, maybe up until 10 or 11 o'clock. We did a rope drop test on Sunday, this past Sunday, which by the way, that video is coming out after this one, I think on Thursday. We got Lightning Lane and then rope drop with that Lightning Lane to show you guys how to use Lightning Lane with a rope drop experience, which is a completely different strategy and scenario than going rope dropping with standby. But I digress. Part of that video was doing some recon here at Tianas, and we were here. I checked the wait times. It was like 10, 11 o'clock, and it was still a 20-minute wait. You know, a 10 or 20-minute wait, a virtual walk-on. 35 minutes right now. They're not even using, oh my gosh. Look at that, you guys, how wonderful. They're not using extended 1 or extended 2.
That's extended 1 right there. They didn't even put the ropes up around extended 2. Extended 2 is a queue where they run the queue around this tree planter right here. You can see the posts in the ground there for that. They'll put stanchions down there and they'll send the queue. How's it going? They'll send the guests. They'll make a right turn after they come out of the herd. They'll make a right turn through those switchbacks there, and then on a really busy day, they'll send them around here as well. But that is a great sign that you know you're going to have not too bad a wait if there's nothing out here in extended 1 or extended 2. And that's very much like the conversation we had earlier with Indiana Jones. Although I don't think this attraction is ever going to approach that kind of requirement. And Indy, you have to look back there. I think in many cases on Tianas, you can kind of just get an idea if it's going to be good or not. The wait times posted are generally accurate here at Tianas, less so at Indy because it's so, the queues are so elastic. But yeah, go ahead and look back there. You see it posted 50 or 60, but there's nobody back there in extended 1 or 2. Get in that queue. That's a go. Meanwhile, it looks like people are pretty excited about getting into the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. That's posted at 20 minutes. Though I am highly doubtful it would be that long while they are coming back around into the barn again. They'll send them out this way, back into the barn, then back towards the house. Yeah, it's probably not 20, but it's maybe 15. It certainly isn't more than 20, I'll say that, as I try to make my way through the train tracks there. But that's a go. It's always a go. Winnie the Pooh, always a go. I don't care what this queue looks like. But yeah, I would say as far as, hi guys, this is about as good this is about as good as I've seen Bayou Country operationally since it reopened, I would think. I mean, Tiana has still got, she's still going through some things. The final scene, Tiana, the Fleur de Bayou, Tiana, she's still going through some things. That's not great, but they're working out. Some of the other animatronics are kind of up and down, various stages of operational capabilities. But as for the ride itself and the land, everything looks good. Excited for it. And there goes the Mark Twain. Look at her go. I think we need to do, we've got some exposition to get into. I want to talk about the reservation calendar. Let's go meet the Mark Twain on the other side of the river. Loving our new venue, by the way, for these reservation calendar reviews. I'm always looking for an excuse to get on the Mark Twain. Okay, we'll start with single day tickets, which we're at 142, which I believe is tier 2. I want to say tier 3, but the first tier is 0. So 0, 1, 2. So the third tier, but tier 2, which is that's pretty high for March on a Monday. Looking at the actual calendar itself, wide open. It's always like this. It's been a minute since we've seen a day sold out on the single day ticket calendar.
but there's nothing happening right now. We'll take a look at the Magic Key calendar next, starting with the Inspire Key. And today, you can get a reservation for today, which is unusual for any time during the Magic Key sales period. I mean, all year round, it's difficult to find that. So that's a good sign that there are reservations today. But I think that this is, again, part of a, kind of a concerted effort to corral Magic Key holders continuously. That's been the case now since this thing has become I just realized they cut how many trees? Is it just the one tree? That one right there? But man, I was seeing that in my in my selfie mode. I'm like, where did all the trees go? They trimmed. I don't know if that's just dead or if they trimmed that. There's another cut tree there. 2 more cut trees over there, down to the stump. Wow. Anyway, where was I? That did not make the construction video. I'm going to have to see if I can find a way to get that in there. Okay, so they are trying to corral guests into those weekdays because the weekends are brutal right now, and they're getting more difficult. Not necessarily to get, they're as difficult as they usually are to get. But what I've been observing recently is that they're now getting harder to snipe. They're getting harder to even just sort of watch, and I'm very hyper vigilant about the calendar. I watch it every day. If there's a day I need, I'm constantly refreshing 30, 50, 60 times a day. I'm refreshing to see if anything opens up. I'm seeing if things are flipping. And when I say flipping, I mean cancellations that become available, and then you got to be right there to get it, and then they're gone real quick. I'm not talking about them opening up batches of dates in the calendar, but flips. Flips are becoming harder to capture, it seems like. I'm having to work harder to get the dates that I want. So the weekends have always been trouble. They've always been difficult. They've always been booked like they are right now with, what is that? Every Saturday and every Sunday and most Fridays in March. The last 2 Fridays are still available, but otherwise they're very difficult to get those weekends. And it's so that's why I have to give up going on weekends basically, unless I'm really hyper aware or I book something in advance. Looking into April, we've got a few dates that are selling out there as well, and then May. That's the time period that you're going to have to be paying attention to if you're an Inspire Key holder or any kind of Magic Key holder that has eligibility. During that period, May is going to be pretty difficult to get because of the 70th. The 16th has been sold out now completely sold out for a couple of weeks. It was the case for a while that you could get a DCA start, but you couldn't get a Disneyland start. The 16th has been sold out now for a couple of weeks. I do think that they will probably make some more of those dates open. The 17th is now the next casualty. People are saying, well, I guess I can't go on the 16th. I'm going to have to go on the 17th. Now that date is starting to sell out. As we get closer and closer to May, you're going to see that week after, the 18th through the 24th, vanish. Not so busy in the queues, but busy in the streets. That's what we're finding so far at roughly the 1/3 point of our ride recon afternoon. Hi. Wrapping up Galaxy's Edge will usually put us around the halfway mark. Section 4. Oh my gosh, look at this. When's the last time you've been able to do this? Section 4, they've actually even taken out the stanchions. It's just these 2 sections right here. I can walk. Oh, this is weird. I can walk through Section 4 now. And I have just revealed myself as a queue nerd because that got me like, oh, what's this? This is fascinating. Over an empty queue. That's what I do, man. I love queues. This is looking pretty light. They're just in Section 2 and Section 1 here. Looks good. I would say I get in that queue. As long as there's nothing too heinous happening over here at Lightning Lane, which I don't expect there to be,
I would expect to wait about 35, 40 minutes there. They're posting it at 55, but that's standard. That's about what you see. But that queue right there, all things being equal, you'll be in the Ray room in about 35 minutes in that queue. And right now, Lightning Lane is no action whatsoever. Those are the only guests right there. The guests are about to be scanned in, but there's nobody in here. And by the way, there are times when you will find a queue. They've got to set up for a queue. You can find, it's not very often, but they can fill this up at some moments. Usually that's if there's been a breakdown or two, and everybody, not just the standby guests are all rushing to get in there, but so are the people who have bought a Lightning Lane. They are perhaps even more motivated to get over here and get in that queue because they don't want to miss they bought it, they want to use it, and they're in a very big hurry to get into that queue. So you'll see, I've seen Lightning Lane queues run down the length of this path that we're on. Here, all the way down this path. Well, not all the way, but it's happened, like to this point at least. Lightning Lane, not standby, Lightning Lane. This is busy in the streets right here. But not in the queues. That queue is goable. Let's go find a place to look at that tip board. All right, let's go. Alice in Wonderland, 25 minutes, standard. Astro Orbiter, 30 minutes, standard. Autopia, 15 minutes, less than standard. Right away, I would have thought that we would have a more hectic looking tip board than what we're finding right now. 15 minutes for the return time of now. Big Thunder is closed. Buzz, 15 minutes, solid. Return time of right now. Casey Jr., 20 minutes. That's still running just one train, I would assume. Gadgets at 45 minutes is pretty standard. No waiting for the Dapper Dans. Good to see the Dapper Dans. They have survived all of these entertainment cuts. That's a conversation we might have in our next episode. But I've been watching entertainment, in both parks, both here and at DCA. DCA entertainment is getting cut left and right. Not quite as aggressive here, although we have a lot of shows. Golden Horseshoe is still without a show. When we start talking about the state of Disneyland, the entertainment is still not what it needs to be, but at least it's it's flatlined at the moment. Dumbo, 25 minutes standard. Nemo, 35 standard. Haunted Mansion, 35. We saw it at 50 when we walked by just a minute ago, so they probably processed all that Lightning Lane, and so the standby queue is getting some relief. Return time of less than an hour, so demand is less so at Haunted Mansion as well. We talked about that at Tiana's. Less demand than there was, a month or two ago when the attraction first reopened. Indiana Jones is at 50. That's pretty standard. Return time of 4 hours. That's actually kind of light. Normally when we do these, we're seeing a return time of Indiana Jones, going out to 8 or 9 p.m. at this point. Jungle Cruise, 25. That's pretty standard. King Arthur Carousel, Mad Tea Party, nothing. Foo, we just saw 20 minutes. Matterhorn, 45 minutes. That's actually pretty good. Return time of an hour and a half. But I do like that 45-minute wait time. I'm looking forward to seeing how that attraction looks when we get there. Always an interesting analyzation, the Matterhorn queue. It's always interesting to see what's, where the queue's at. Runaway Railway, 30 minutes. I'd get in that queue. Just by eyeballing it from here, return time of 2 hours. That's pretty good. And let's see, Smuggler's Run, they're calling it 30. We're looking at Smuggler's Run right now as I show this, and it's posted 30. There's Chewbacca over there talking to guests. And this is actually a pretty hectic looking common area out here right now. This is actually pretty busy for Galaxy's Edge. In terms of just foot traffic and the density of crowds, I've seen it much emptier than this many times. Getting back to our list, there's Toads at 30 minutes. Wow, get the heck out of here, man. 30 minutes for Toads, I love it. I love it. I love how much love and respect Toads is still getting. What are we going on 70 years into this park? That Toads is the first attraction they ever built here. I consider it the first Disneyland attraction, and it's still pulling 30-minute wait. That's amazing. Peter Pan, 30 minutes. Toads and Peter Pan have the same wait time. Get the heck out of here. Pinocchio is 15 minutes. I love it. That's like my favorite thing. Pirates, take a boat. Oh, I'm sorry, Pirates. Well, Pirates Lair. It's still Tom Sawyer's Island to me. Pirates of the Caribbean is 20 minutes. That was pretty light still. Return time in an hour. Roger Rabbit, 50. There you go. Still got to wait a long time to get it in Roger Rabbit. Return time in 2 hours. 35 minutes. 35 minutes right now. That's incredible for Space Mountain. And just, not even 3 hours return time. It's just not happening in the queues. 10 minutes for Star Tours. Rise right now is 55. It's probably not though. I would have called that queue 35, 40 minutes maybe. And Strippercon 20. Tiana's at 45. We just saw it at 30 or 35. People must have taken that call to action on Tiana's. And there you go. Take care. Talking about the state of wait times here at Disneyland this week. That was very inviting. That was very pleasant, surprising even. I'm going to give that queue or that tip board. That's a B+. That's a really good tip board for guests today. If you're a guest coming to Disneyland, you don't come very often, and you're not sure what kind of day this is. If this is a busy day, if it's a slow day, if it's the kind of day you want to be in. The answer is yes. This is a good day to be in the parks as we head into Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run to check in on that 30-minute posted wait time. If there were an attraction that would win the award for most impossible to predict if it's right or wrong, I think it would be this one. You just don't know. I mean, I kind of know the kind of queue. It's like art, right? I don't know art, but I know what I like. I don't know this queue as well as I want to, but I know that when I get in there and I see something, I know I don't like it. There are queues that I just don't want to see. This is not one of them. It's when you find the back of the queue right here or even up there a little bit. But if I see people running up there, that's a good sign. I like the looks of that. Okay, that's pretty manageable. It's just there's the back of the queue right there. And again, it just depends mostly on Lightning Lane. That's not my favorite situation.
Systems check.
But it's not so bad as long as you don't see anybody here. This is Lightning Lane, and this can fill up. You can see this get really, really backed up. But I'm just seeing a smattering of guests there, so these guys could move, could be okay. The other variable, and it's the one that makes it next to impossible to really know for sure what's happening in that queue, is there are so many pods, cockpits, Falcon cockpits that you can, that exist. I don't know what the number is off the top of my head. I want to say there's 1, 2, 3, 6. I think maybe 24. I think 24. I might have. You guys, I'm going to get corrected. I know, but I want to say 24 actual ride vehicles with 6 guests per, right? But they're in pods, like 3 or 4 pods, 4 on each, I think. Again, if memory serves, I'm trying to imagine the schematic in my head right now that I don't have it memorized. But if one of those goes down, then that affects how many guests they can cycle through, and you have no idea of knowing if they're down a pod or not, because they don't publicize it. The ride stays open. They don't, it doesn't close the attraction. And it's not like, on Pirates or Space Mountain where you can actually see the ride vehicles. When vehicles go down on those attractions, they just shut the ride down, so you kind of just know, right? Well, it's done, it's closed, it's going to be a while, but here they keep it open. Even if it's running at half capacity, I would imagine they keep it open. It's very much like Mission Breakout at DCA. So kind of surprised that we're not seeing longer wait times, considering what we saw at the outset when we opened the show with the very busy streets, both here or in Main Street. Adventureland was pretty packed. Northern Square looked packed. Bayou Country looked pretty packed. As a matter of fact, we were just commenting here at Galaxy's Edge how there's more people in the streets there in Galaxy's Edge than I normally see. In spite of all that, in spite of people in the streets, busy in the streets, but not in the queues. And this is we're on a Monday. It's tier, what did I say? Tier 3, it's $142. So kind of in the middle of the spectrum there. This should be a day for Magic Key holders. As a matter of fact, as we mentioned, key holders are you could get a reservation today, but they're not here. Well, maybe they're not. I don't know. I would have expected more people here doing this, unless the reason for that busy in the streets, not in the queue situation is because Magic Key holders are here. They're not going on rides. They're just walking around enjoying the park. As a matter of fact, I think I just described a typical Magic Key holder day, as it were.
Millennium Falcon belongs to. I want to know why it's here.
It might be covering for the Wookiee, sir.
How helpful.
Understood. If there's one Jedi left, it's not you. Stop right there. Is your allegiance with the First Order? Good. Much less trouble for both of us.
On that topic of magic keys, I hope you got yours if you were trying to get one. I was expecting them to last longer, sales to happen to last longer, but we are now down to just one magic key. You can see here that Inspire keys are no longer available for purchase, renewal only. Believe key, no longer available for purchase, renewal only. The Enchant key you can buy, that is available for purchase. Fascinating, that development. And then Inspire, or in a magic key, no longer available for purchase. That's the Enchant key is the one that I would have thought Disney would want to stop selling first, and they want to sell more Inspire keys. This is the opposite of the trend that we saw about this time last year. But it sounds like Disney got what they wanted out of that, reopening. I think that they're following an old pattern of trying to keep demand high by not, it's like, what was it, putting things in the vault. They put them in the vault. Those old DVD or the VHS, remember? They would put the Disney titles in a vault, theoretically. That was the Chapek idea, by the way. They would put those sales in the vault, and you couldn't buy a VHS for a long time, years. I think that's what they're doing with Magic Keys, is they're putting those Magic Keys in a vault, and then every now and then they'll open it back up. It doesn't really have anything to do with, oh my gosh, it's not busy enough, so we got to start selling more keys. Any kind of panic. I think this is a very deliberate, programmed strategy of how they're controlling the faucet of Magic Keys being made available. They'll put them in the vault for a little while and reopen things, but I would have thought they'd want to sell more Inspire than Enchant. I would have thought they would have upped the volume on that a little bit.
And we have arrived at Fantasyland. This feels wide open today. Okay, I think they've taken down some more trees right here. I'm gonna have to go look back at some old footage, but I feel things being a little more open here. What is happening? I think these were cut. They look freshly cut, do they not? I'm gonna have to go back and shoot this again for the construction report. My goodness, yeah, look, there's more over here. These were all cut. Now that's not a permanent thing. I think that's just a seasonal growth type situation. They're gonna come back. They'll grow back into their former states. Again, I apologize for being a huge nerd about things that are trivial to the average guest, I'm sure. Let's get into some park science. Check out these Fantasyland dark rides and assess the state of things here at Fantasyland, which is light, decidedly light. Do you see this? All that open pavement right there. And Pinocchio is a straight walk-on. We've been here on many occasions where all this queue was filled up. That's the back of the queue right there, is it? Oh no, these guests hadn't. But the forward part, the front half, the walk through, the back of the queue is probably over here somewhere. That is, even for Pinocchio, that's light. Snow, oh my gosh, you guys. That's posted at 10. They kind of missed the dial a little bit there, but that's about right. I could just walk straight into the dungeon from here. Can I just go straight to the dungeon? I'm tripping out a little bit. I'm a little past the dungeon, around the corner. And the back of the queue is halfway down this first switchback. That's insane. That's nuts. I don't recall that ever being the case. Sorry, guys. No matter how busy or slow it is. I mean, it would take like a 9 a.m. situation for us to find a queue like that at Snow White, but certainly not in the middle of the afternoon. What is it right now? It is 2:27. Look at Peter Pan. Merlin's over here. They're using just about half that. The outer chain is empty. 4 chains empty. Often when we see empty chains here, it's just 2, but we've got 4 chains. This is a 30-minute queue, and it says as much right there on Peter Pan. The tip board was not lying. We saw 30 minutes for Toads as well. If that winds up holding up, I'm gonna be so flabbergasted. What a weird day this is turning out to be. But no, that is not a 30-minute queue for Toads. That is a 15, 20-minute queue for Toads. 30 minutes they'd have the ropes out here. Maybe they were at one point, but this is certainly not a 30-minute queue. This is more like 15 or 20. Suddenly I'm wondering about Dumbo. If Dumbo's short, if Dumbo's like a 15-minute wait, I'm getting on. Well, it's posted 30. It's a pretty standard looking queue from this direction. Okay, well, nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. We're at the back of the Dumbo queue, and it's actually longer than it usually is. They're using all of the extended queue back here, all of it. And Casey, for that matter too, is also beyond its normal state. So nothing makes sense anymore. I don't know what the world is. How is Dumbo the deepest queue in Fantasyland right now? Everything else is like breezy. I almost walked directly onto Snow White, but Dumbo's 30 minutes. I mean, well, I should say Dumbo should be that, but if Dumbo matched the rest of Fantasyland right now, it would be half that size. More of the same back here in Alice Land. Look at that. Or I mean, the teacups are out here on the rail. This is just bizarre. So bizarre. I would have expected half this queue also, considering what else we've seen around the park. But there they are. Everybody, they're not at Peter Pan or Snow White. They're here at the teacups. I mean, that queue is still a breeze. I waited in that exact queue when I was doing what was I doing that day? I can't remember. I was 10 rides in 5 hours. I got in almost that exact queue, and that took about 15 minutes. Alice is looking all right, though. I mean, it feels intense right here, but the queue is less than a normal. It's just right now, I think the teacups are just letting out, and we're getting a bit of a log jam here. But Alice looks pretty manageable. That's about a 20-minute wait that we're looking at there. If I can get over there. There we go. 20 minutes there. There you go. Yeah, see? It's like 10 minutes. I got on. And by the way, if what you're seeing looks good to you, if you want to make a trip down to Disneyland Resort, or anywhere for that matter, we would ask that you please do consider using our travel affiliate, GetAwayToday. We just had a marvelous weekend with them last week prior to Food and Wine. They are the best in the business at making travel arrangements. They are good friends of the show, and they are our preferred partners when it comes to making plans. There's a link in the description. Use GetAwayToday. Let them know that we sent you, and they're going to help you book an awesome trip here at the Disneyland Resort or Walt Disney World, cruises, Universal, you name it. They've got you covered. I hope you guys have a great trip. Yeah, I found my ride. I was hoping it would be Dumbo, but I'll take the teacups. We got to get back to work. There's Storybook Land. That's looking positively goable. That's very go. Well, maybe not very. It's pretty go. It's pretty go. I mean, obviously you'd like to see fewer, but anytime you can get in this queue without having to be in either of these extended areas out there, you're doing pretty good. But even that's not so bad. This is pretty good. I'll take that. I would get in that queue right now. You know, that's one of the reasons why I was thinking I should get in that queue. I should. I want to. But that's one of the reasons why I like I've been doing more videos in the park where I'm actually going on rides, you know, challenges and things of that nature, because I miss like getting in there and mixing it up with everybody and then applying the things that I've learned as I walk through the parks. As I mentioned before, we've got 2 videos coming up where it's a part 1 and a part 2 of using Lightning Lane during rope dropping in the middle of the afternoon. We got that, plus a whole bunch of other rope drop strategy videos, and we did recently another midday strategy video, a challenge, 10 rides in 5 days. We've got lots of stuff out there. If you guys are looking just to see me go on rides and have fun, check those out. I'm gonna have my kind of fun though, the kind of fun that I like to do, and that is going into lands, checking out attractions, and figuring out if I should get in them or not. And there goes the train. I heard the whistle just a second ago. They're doing lots of testing. It's non-stop testing right now on the Disneyland Railroad, getting ready for Friday. It was just a few days away. The train will be back online. I should do a whole video of me just riding the train and the monorail, man. That's how excited I am to get these things back. And they've only been closed for a couple of months. You know, if I'm a casual guest coming to Disneyland with my family, this would just be so amazing and perfect. Toontown, that vibe walking in here, it feels intense, not gonna lie. It feels very intense, it's very tight, it's very compressed. So there's, the narrow walkways and everything. It's worse, it's not as bad as it looks. It's not as bad as it feels, although it is tight, but this just must be, I hope you guys have fun here. I really do. The families out there sending their kids over there to Goofy's Play Yard. I know that Sophia loves running around there. She could spend half a day in Goofy's Play Yard by itself. Toontown really is terrific. Having said that, when's the last time we've had an observable ghost situation at Roger Rabbit Cartoon Spin? We saw a 50-minute wait on the tip board, and it is posted still at 50 minutes now. We'll go look for the back of the queue. Hope we don't find it anytime soon. So far, so good. We've gotten all the way to a speakeasy with the bouncer whose face is not appearing yet. Where are you, bro? There you are.
If you ain't got the password, you ain't coming in.
I don't have it. Okay, we found it right here, and it's kind of customary spot just shy of the prop room. That is not a go for those of you trying to do better than 50 minutes. If you're looking for a discount at Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, that is not it. And once more, Roger Rabbit exceeds normalcy. It is one of the most inexplicably consistently busy attractions in the park. 50 minutes almost always. Now, granted, it's busy here. It often is, but it's kind of like I compare it to Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc. has no business being 50 minutes as consistently as it is, especially when you consider that the back lot is usually just kind of vacant and dead. But that's because there's so few things to do at DCA in general. I think that all the guests kind of just congregate on the few attractions that are available. You can't say that about Roger Rabbit, and that there's tons of attractions available, but it's also not as dead as the backlot is. There is an impressive inventory of potential guests for Roger Rabbit here in Toontown, but still, I feel like that attraction should be more efficient. And then you compare it to what's happening here at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway on a regular basis, where presently it is posted at 30 minutes. Although I would question that, as we are about to find the back of the queue as we cross through the threshold here. That's probably closer to a 4-minute queue if everything is as full as it normally could be in there. This is not an ideal situation for Runaway Railway. Not that, hey, how are you? Not that I would dissuade anybody from getting in that queue. It's very efficient. If you want to go, if you have your heart set on going on Runaway Railway, get on that one. There's very few queues, like Pirates, where I would say don't get in that queue. That's not. There are no no-goes for me on Pirates, and that's pretty much true as well for Runaway Railway. Oh my God, Pluto has. He's got a Pluto train going on. I don't know where they're going, what they're doing, but he's got himself a bit of a following. That's adorable. I'm laughing outwardly, but you can't hear me. Same queue we find here every single time we come to Toontown for Minnie's meet and greet. It goes down to the door, and it's posted at 30 minutes. Good news is that on this effort, she is meeting guests out here in the tea room, tea party, whatever. So that means you get to go through the house first, which is great. You can go through the house and just bail. You don't have to meet Minnie if you don't want to, but you still have to wait in the queue because they pulse guests through there. That's 30 minutes for Mickey's meet and greet. And we'll just keep on moving to Gadgets, which, is it running? I can't tell. Oh, it's running. Yeah, there's back of the queue. There they go, up the hill. Back of the queue is right over here. You're looking at probably 35 minutes from that point. 35 minutes from Chip is pretty standard. Personally, this is one of my favorite attractions in the entire park because I'm a lightweight when it comes to roller coasters, and it's still really, really fun. And it's just like the right speed, the right length. I wouldn't mind it being a little bit longer, but it's still plenty of thrills. Compact into a kid's ride. You can bring the whole family. It's fantastic. Somehow,
for some reason, theme parks, modern theme parks, have forgotten how to make rides like that. Like as a parent, when if I'm going to take my kid or my family, and dude, there's a lot of families out there. It's not just, you know, Intamin roller coaster nerds out there going to theme parks. There are families with kids, and they want to be able to enjoy the whole park with the whole family. Can you do that at Knott's Berry Farm or at Universal? I know Knott's Berry Farm has Camp Snoopy, but gosh, guys, Camp Snoopy is bazonkers. It's impossible to navigate that land efficiently. You have to just pick your battles. Plus, there's not a single, well, there's one ride at Camp Snoopy that I would like to go on. One. As an adult. The rest are just not for the whole family. It's just for the kids. Universal doesn't, I mean, they have what? 2 rides for kids out of 8. Seems like making rides like Gadget's Coaster has been a lost art, and I'm grateful that Disney is so good. That's part of the reason why it holds such, you know, high regard for me, is that it really did achieve that wish that Walt had. People want to call this a kids theme park. It's really not. It's not. And at the risk of speaking for Walt, but I'm pretty sure he said something to this effect. Walt built this park for us, for moms and dads, so that we could also enjoy things while the kids were here. Rather than, you know, he famously is known to eat peanuts while, you know, his kids on at the carousel at Griffith Park. You know, I would imagine he's thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? Where's my ride? Well, you got Disneyland now, and you got trains and, you know, monorails and dark rides and things like that the whole family can enjoy. It doesn't get talked about enough. It doesn't get appreciated enough. So let's take this story next to the Matterhorn so I can observe this beauty. Never get tired of that, am I right? Oh my gosh. They made this. They made this 50 years ago, 60 years ago, my gosh. All right, looks good. Looks nice here. That's not too bad. I don't see 8, oh my gosh. Look, okay, that's posted 40 right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, that's 40. But look at that. They've got, it's right of tree. Left and left are empty. Tree lamp is empty. But we are out here into Extended 1. And I can't tell, yeah, and Extended 2, but Extended 3 is open. So figure Extended 1 is probably 6 or 7 minutes. And then we're going right of tree. I mean, you're looking at maybe 25 minutes there, maybe 25. All things being equal, as we often say, because you can just never tell what's going to happen with Lightning Lane. But if you get in this queue right now, you're in business. That's a go situation. Seriously, I should start tracking the go, no goes, like on every queue. Because this will be the first time we're going to grade our day today. We're going to be grading this. I've been kind of getting into that, as you may have noticed. We're talking about the state of things as we go. I should be counting the go, no goes as well, right? Because this is one of those days where I'm saying go often, and I am always a go. For looking at the Nemo Lagoon. Should we just pause here for a minute and take this in and see how long we can watch this submarine go by here and make its way into the dark ride portion of things? Oh my gosh. I was gonna say wait for a monorail to go by, but we can't. The monorail's not running. Hey, why aren't they testing the monorail? I have not seen any monorails go by. We've been seeing trains all day today, but I have not seen a single monorail. Are they not testing those? Here comes Mariner 407. You guys look down in the water and you can see the show, some of the little show that they're seeing inside those little portals. You can't see them, they're below the water line, but there's a bunch of guests right there looking out the windows into this lagoon, making their final observations about the Great Barrier Reef before heading into the Finding Nemo show portion. Show of hands, raise your hand if you would prefer this attraction to find some way to do nothing but this part of the show. Don't go under the sea, as it were,
and into the dark ride portion. If they could find some way to just do nothing but outdoor, like just take out the Autopia track right there. You want to lose the Autopia track for a reason? How about we take out all those rocks, take all that out, and just make more of this, right? Make more of this and running around. Obviously they can't, because the reason why they do have to do that is because they can put a lid on it. The lid is actually the track for Autopia. This show building is going to go underneath the Autopia tracks. So if you were to take the lid off, then you wouldn't have an Autopia track anymore, but I guess some people would be perfectly fine with that. But if we're talking about ways to upgrade the lagoon, second show of hands, how many of you would prefer twice the lagoon, twice the lagoon, outdoor lagoon style, like that first half, twice as much as that, and zero Autopia? Hi guys, show of hands. Comments below, thank you. Disney would never do it though, because they're not getting any more capacity. It would actually lose all the Autopia capacity, because you're not, by doubling the outdoor portion, you're not actually doubling the queue or doubling the ride capacity. It's the same ride capacity with or without the lid, and then you lose Autopia. So yeah, they're probably never gonna do that. Check out this queue though for Nemo. That's pretty robust compared to what we've been seeing elsewhere around the park. Not as dense as it could be on a super busy day, but I would say this is stretching my limits of go, no go, depending on how much you value riding Finding Nemo. Like for some, I think it has to be a darn near walk-on to get them onto this attraction. Just about any queue is a no-go for a healthy percentage of Disneyland guests. It's posted at 30 minutes right now. And as we swiftly make our way around the backside of Tomorrowland, check in on Autopia. Can I get in on this angle? I think I can. And oh my God, what? Holy! I know, that's what he's saying. I couldn't even get it out before the cast member was like, dude, it's 5 minutes. What in the name of empty parks is going on here? But there you go. That's the back of the queue right there, you guys. That's the whole of it. That's the whole queue. There is nothing happening over here on this part. Just a lonely cast member waiting for some kind of array of guests to corral. Nothing happening, obviously, in the rotunda. Nothing happening out there on the risers. There's no lightning lane. There's no nothing. That's the whole queue. I think I've said this before, though. I don't know if Autopia is necessarily, is that the barometer of what a busy day is? I said that about Finding Nemo. I'd go by the Finding Nemo queue and see that empty, and like, okay, it's not busy. That doesn't necessarily, that's not the final say. Neither is Autopia, but still, that is outrageous. You show me a 10 or 15 minute queue, or even a 30-minute queue here at Space Mountain, and then we can qualify this as a slow day. And I will say once more, as I often do, don't tell me it's a Monday. Don't bring that up, because I do all of these shows on Mondays. Every one of these shows practically for years, it seems like, have been on a Monday. And I've seen plenty of busy days on Mondays, trust me. And while it's not 30 or 35 minutes, it's posted at 45. And I'm wondering if that's, is even that a true story? I know, I would say for sure that for the common guest, the guest who's here twice a year, maybe every couple months or something like that, they see 45 on that sign. They're going. That's a sign to get in that queue. But what are we gonna find when we make this ceremonial walk up the ramps? Say hi to the empty Pizza Planet. Oh my God, it's empty down there. We make our ceremonial walk up the ramps and make that left turn. What are we gonna find? Take that in for a second. Just gonna let that speak. It's not out the door. It's good, but we are seeing a queue out there. That's pretty standard though. To not see a queue there would be almost impossible to believe. But we are easily into the door here. Okay, all right, so all of section 1. Looks like most of section 2, but this rear section is not being used. It's
very common to find all of this being occupied. This is no bargain. This is not a slow day queue. This is still a fairly active queue, but that should be expected. Even on slow days, you should expect to find a queue here at Space Mountain, and even in some cases an hour-long queue, even on a slow day, because Space Mountain is popular. It just is. So it's gonna get, on a busy day, hi guys, on a busy day people will opt out of other attractions, but they're not gonna opt out of Space Mountain. But is that a go? Well, comparatively speaking, for the rest of the day, that's a no-go. It's closer to its top range, its normal range, but I'm still getting in that queue. If I want to ride Space Mountain, that's better than a 55 or a 60-minute queue, which is what you would normally find here, so it's still a win. But again here, we're seeing more like busy in the streets as opposed to in the queues. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Is this a locals effect? Is this the pass holder effect? They're kind of filling in the parks a little bit. The bodies are here, but they're just not getting into queues. That's 15 minutes. For Astro Blasters, very little action there in Lightning Lane, very little action out here in Standby. Wow, wow, wow. What is happening? This is not what I was expecting when I started my day today, especially considering what we saw in the past couple of days and what we saw on Main Street and Adventureland. But isn't it so that when we got here, I was like, oh man, Main Street, right? And I got, oh man, Adventureland. But when I got into the queue, for Indiana Jones, and even Jungle Cruise for that matter, when I got in, like, this doesn't equal. It's not, something is amiss, right? Now, Indiana Jones eventually did grow, but we've been sort of repeating those patterns throughout this afternoon. Star Tours, 10 minutes right there it says, 10 minutes. They just opened the door though. That was closed when we walked by here a minute ago. So they may be, is the queue bigger than the guy? It's kind of, hi guys. Hey, how are you? Hi. Thanks, thank you. I appreciate you, thank you. I see the back of the queue sticking out here a little bit, right? So they're probably gonna, maybe she's getting ready to flex it in there, but even still, if they add that, it's still gonna be maybe just 15 minutes. But what is, if this is 10, if the whole queue is 10, and that's what we're seeing out here, what's it look like inside? It's got to be practically nothing in there, right? Let's see if I can't sneak a peek in there while they're waiting to flex in. Look, there's a queue in there. There's guests in there. That's not 10 minutes. Yeah, that plus what we're seeing out here, you're looking at maybe 15 or 20 minutes to get in there or to get to your vehicle. Huh. Now this makes me proud. This makes me happy. Hey, how are you? To see this Astro Orbiter queue about ready to burst out of its pen. It's posted at 20, which it's not. This is a 30-minute queue now, and it's about ready to come out of here. And you never see this. You never see a full. Oh, I get it. Is that why? They've chained off some of these sections. They're sending the guests straight down this way for some reason. They're not using two of those switchbacks, but still, that's as full a queue as you're gonna find at Astro Orbiter at any point in the day. So, hour and a half later, I think, I'm editing this in my brain right now, so I'm not positive how this is working out, but I think you may have already at least been seeing a teaser of what happened to me since I shot that bit at the Astro Orbiter. I was advised that John Rhys Davies was in the park celebrating the 30th anniversary of Indiana Jones Adventure. He's Salah, obviously from Raiders of the Lost Ark and that whole series. Plus, he's the guide. He's the guy you see in the screening room. That guy. I just rode Indy with him. Like, I don't even know how to finish the show. I still got to go do recon on Big Thunder. Like, how is that even possible? So I think I might be doing, or will have done, a separate video on that.
or you saw what I saw, or I put it into the teaser before. But that's why, hi guys, that's why there's a sudden change in the environment around me. Like I said, that was about an hour and a half ago when I stopped shooting. So I'm going to wrap this up now. This week we did not get the benefit of showing up at Big Thunder right after a reopening, but it's more the same of what we saw. Goodness gracious, 35 minutes it's posted right now. 35 minutes. There is a queue back there, but that you can get that done in 35 minutes. It's not all the way back, it's just up and back, so they're not using the whole of it back there, but that's incredible. 35 minutes, a little bit of lightning lane action right here. And one thing that I do want to follow up on here while we're at Big Thunder, and we'll close the show with this. We've been following this on our construction reports, but I wanted to mention it here as well. The glasses case and the hoodie are gone. They picked them up somehow. Now, it's not a complete victory because there's other trash in here. Now, this looks to be new trash. That water bottle right there looks to be new trash. Hopefully that's not something that we have to keep track of in future episodes, but at least that's happening, so that's a positive. And on that note, I'm going to try to summarize our results. I mentioned that we're going to be trying to do a grading system here. I want to give this report, I want to give the park a grade. If we're going to do a State of Disneyland report, I feel like we should have some sort of result here. So what I've come up with is, I think I got 5 categories here. The calendar, the reservation calendar.
Oh my God.
Hi guys. How are you? Like, I feel like the reservation calendar is pretty, it's just, it's bad all the time, but you have to have some, there's got to be some kind of bell curve there. I'm going to give it a C. Not the worst thing that I've ever seen, but it's still not great either. It's still the reservation system. The reservation system still sucks. So I don't know if it'll ever get better. Will it ever get better than a C? I don't know. The tip board, wait times. Wait times were nice today. They were pretty nice. There were still some exceptions, but I feel like this is darn near, perfect, I guess. Well, not really perfect, but it's as good as it's probably going to be for a semi-busy day. I'm giving this a B+. Crowds, again, B+. It's busy enough for like, oh my gosh, it's kind of busy, but not that it got in the way of experience today. This is definitely a gettable day today. You could definitely make your way through this park and enjoy yourself without too much effort or strain. But there's, people were here. It's good. It was a lot of people in the park, a lot of people in the streets. Giving that a B+. Very enjoyable. Maintenance, upkeep. Let's see. Well, we just talked about the trash. They picked that up, although that's been a growing concern for me. But that's been isolated to just those kind of areas. It's not like it's rampant throughout the park. Meanwhile, the attractions, I think just Big Thunder. I think that might have been the only closure that we encountered while we're out here. So right now, today, I'm giving that a B+ also. What did I give it? Yeah, B+. And if they keep up with the, we'll see what happens when I come back to Big Thunder, and if I see more trash there, I might change my feelings about that. And again, I don't want to make it sound like it's some kind of pervasive issue that Disney is. You just can't go a week. It used to be that there was this, myth out there that you could leave something in the park and the next day it would, like a piece of trash or something like that. You could intentionally leave it there at night and it would be gone in the morning. That's not true anymore, I guess, right? If that was true before. And then let's see, the last one is, oh no, I've already got that one, right? It's online, so that's about the same. We're going to call that upkeep B+. So yeah, so that's got to be a B+, right? Overall, the score, grade B+. I'm closing my show. Would you remind everybody to sleep well tonight?
Well, what I want you to do is, I want you to go into the...
Oh yeah, you got my map?
The Obelisk of Doom and the Labyrinth of Chaos, the Uncharted Area, the Tunnels of Return, the Fountain of Eternal Youth, the Chamber of Earthly Riches, and then I want you to go home and do that. Sleep well.
There you go. Thanks, Justin. Well said. And if you enjoyed this show, please be sure to check out our previous State of DCA report. That's very fun. We had a great time shooting that. And thanks for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh bait.